one of the most debated question in India is which religion came first? Is that Hinduism came first, or Jainism came first, or Buddhism came first? But most conclusively they said that either Hinduism or Buddhism. But the recent book which I gone through is that the shortest history of India. So in that I think he has given a possible answer to it.
If the archaeological discoveries of the early 1920s were a watershed in pushing back the beginnings of Indian civilization by thousands of years, the 2010s will be remembered for the astonishing advances in our understanding of the ancestry of the earliest Indians. The ability to analyze the genetic DNA of skeletal remains has enabled scientists to map migration routes into India, identify the first agriculturalists, and even date the beginnings of social stratification known as the caste system. Based on archaeological finds, such as beach middens in Eritrea, we can confidently date the migration of modern humans, or Homo sapiens, out of Africa to around 70,000 years ago. Their route took them through the Arabian Peninsula and across modern-day Iraq and Iran until they reached the Indian subcontinent some 65,000 years ago. There they encountered groups of what are termed archaic humans. Archaeologists discovered the world's first examples of cotton being woven into fabric. By the time it was abandoned in favor of a larger town nearby, sometime between 2600 and 2000 BCE, Mehrgarh had grown to become an important center for innovation, not only in agriculture, but also in pottery, stone tools, and the use of copper. The agricultural revolution it sparked would become the basis of the Harappan civilization. Trade. By the mature phase, the symbols that were found on seals became standardized. Gambling was widespread, as evidenced by dozens of cubical terracotta dice discovered at Mohenjo-Daro and other sites. Cotton was cultivated for clothes and possibly traded with West Asia. Although no structures that can be definitively classified as temples have been discovered, some kind of religious ideology almost certainly existed. The links between what is known of Harappan systems of belief and the development of Hinduism are too numerous to ignore. Images of what could be deities in peepal trees with worshippers kneeling in front of them were common. The tree is considered sacred in both Hinduism and Buddhism. Bathing, an important part of Harappan civilization, is a centerpiece of Hindu ritual. The existence of what appear to be fire altars, evidence of animal sacrifices, and the use of the swastika symbol recall Hindu ceremonies. The most compelling evidence of a link is a seal depicting a figure seated in a yogic position, wearing a horned headdress and surrounded by a tiger, elephant, buffalo, and rhinoceros. The figure on the inch-high seal was named Pashupati, or Lord of the Beasts, and was described by Marshall as a proto-Shiva, or early model of Shiva, a key deity in the Hindu pantheon, considered the god of creation and destruction. But as the American Indologist Wendy Doniger points out, the Shiva connection is just one of more than a dozen explanations for the figure, inspired or constrained by the particular historical circumstances and agenda of the interpreter. Similarly, small terracotta statuettes of buxom women could be prototypes of Hindu goddesses or mere expressions of admiration for the female form. What we do know is that the migrating tribes from Central Asia drew on existing deities and belief systems. If these alleged deity prototypes were not evidence of a coherent religious system, they open up the tantalizing possibility that the Harappan civilization may have been the world's first secular state, predating the European Enlightenment by 4 millennia. What caused the decline of the Harappan civilization in the lead-up to its demise in 1300 BCE is still open to interpretation.
That both Hinduism as well as Buddhism philosophies are existed at the tribal levels in India. So it is the philosophy at the earliest form of Hinduism, Buddhism are existed in the Harappan civilization. That's what the author is kind of concluded over there.